Our movie opens with Ben calling an ambulance to report a suicide taking place in his apartment, asserting that he is the one planning to end his life. Upon returning home, he finds a piece of paper listing the names of individuals he has recently contacted. The first name on the list is a blind employee at a sales company. Ben decides to call B and intentionally tries to provoke him without any clear reason. However, B responds with calmness, thanking him for reaching out before hanging up. Frustrated by B's composure, Ben takes out his anger on those around him. He momentarily finds solace by repeating 7 names to himself. Soon after, his brother calls, asking if Ben took anything from their home before leaving. Ben reassures him that he hasn't taken anything. The second name on his list is Amal, but when Ben attempts to visit her, he discovers she's missing. A neighbor informs him that she's in the hospital undergoing heart tests. Concerned, he decides to visit her and watches over her while she sleeps. Leaving Amal's bedside, he walks through the hospital, where he has an appointment with a doctor to discuss his tax situation. As a tax collector, he talks to a patient who refuses to take her prescribed medication. Despite the doctor's efforts, he fails to convince her. Afterward, Ben talks to Bina, where he negotiates an extension of 6 months for paying his taxes. Bina agrees, but before leaving, Ben asks the patient about her condition and her thoughts on the doctor. She writes back, expressing her frustration that the doctor punishes her for refusing the medicine that makes her ill. Ben instructs the nurse to ensure the patient receives proper care and decides to deny the doctor's extension request, believing he doesn't deserve it. While conducting his rounds as a tax collector, Ben comes across a woman with significant tax debts, learning that she has heart failure since giving birth and is waiting for a heart transplant. Understanding the urgency of her situation, he gives her a 6-month extension, which leaves her very grateful. Moving on, he visits Holly, who works in the family services department, asking her for a name of a family in desperate need. She provides him with the name of a woman named Khan, living in a modest home with 2 children and enduring severe abuse from her partner. When Ben arrives, he presents himself as a tax investigator and offers to conduct a general welfare check on her situation. In an effort to help, he tries to convince Khan to escape her abuser, but she refuses, insisting that he leave. Soon after, she receives a call from Molly, who informs her she has breathing problems and has collapsed. Khan finds Ben's card and requests to talk. Subsequently, they converse until she falls asleep, at which point a doctor arrives to deliver grave news. Khan's heart muscle has deteriorated significantly, and she has less than 6 weeks before she needs a donor. In an effort to provide comfort, Ben goes to her home with a dog and spends the night with her. The following day, he receives a call from Connie, who, having fled from her abusive partner, seeks Ben's help. When they meet, he hands her an envelope containing the key to his house, telling her to start fresh. Inside, she discovers that Ben has signed over his entire property to her, effective with her signature. He implores her not to contact him again and to focus on enjoying her life with her children. Ben picks Emily up from the hospital and takes her to her house. The next day, he returns to help clean her garden and provides support as much as he can. During their time together, Emily shows him her garage, revealing the printing machine she used for producing wedding invitations before her condition forced her to stop. One machine remains broken, though it holds significant sentimental value for her. Nobody can fix it. Curious about her dreams, Ben asks what she wishes for, as she expresses a longing to be able to run. They share a fulfilling day together, and as he takes her home, Ben returns quietly to her garage later that night to repair the machine, working tirelessly until dawn. Later, he reflects on a tragic car accident that occurred while he was driving with his wife, whom he lost in the collision, along with 6 other lives. Burdened by guilt and haunted by the memory of that day, he decides to head to the hospital and donates bone marrow to a young boy named Azam. Exhausted from the effort, Ben temporarily disappears before receiving an invitation to lunch from Emily. During their time together, she surprises him with a gift, and they share a dance. Ben reveals that he has also prepared a gift for her, leading her to the garage where she discovers he has fixed the long-broken printing machine. Overjoyed, she learns that he has finally accomplished what she could not. However, as Ben steps outside to retrieve the rest of her gift from the car, his brother confronts him. They engage in a heated argument where Ben's brother chastises him for impersonating a government employee and meddling in the lives of vulnerable people by using his tax collector's badge. Realizing the impact of his actions, Ben agrees to apologize to Emily and insists he needs to leave, but he finds himself unable to detach from her side and stays to ensure she falls asleep comfortably. Desperate for answers regarding Emily's condition, Ben visits her doctor to inquire about her prognosis. The doctor's prognosis is grim, emphasizing that her health continues to decline and the chance of finding a donor is minimal. Devastated by the news, Ben returns home, and after a heartfelt interaction with Azam, he apologizes for past grievances. He then decides to enact his plan. Ben calls the police to inform them of a suicide in progress and admits that he intends to take his own life. As memories of the accident flood his mind, he recalls the moment he lost his wife. His negligence on the road resulted in a catastrophic accident that took not only her life but also the lives of 6 others. Determined to find some solace through sacrifice, he fills the bathtub and follows through with his plan to commit suicide, orchestrating his departure in agreement with Dan, who is to honor Ben's final wishes. Dan carries out Ben's directive, explaining everything that transpired to the other recipients. Ben's heart is set to be donated to 7 people. Dan receives a part of his lung, Holly a piece of his liver, and Ben donates his bone marrow to Sturt, along with a portion to Connie, onward to his daughter, forging a connection, despite imposing a barrier before he passes away. And that concludes our tale. If you've reached so far in our video, you're officially awesome. Thanks for sticking around with Chat Craze. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and to leave a nice comment. Until next time.